I want to talk to you about HostGator, and the question is this web hosting service really worth it for you? So let me give you the summary here. So when we think about HostGator, I want you to think about an excellent web hosting service. They offer excellent customer service. They have top tier uptime, and they also have a constellation of powerful tools that we actually love, including a terrific website builder for bloggers and small businesses. And so when you think about HostGator, I want you to think about one of the biggest providers in the web hosting industry. They have affordable prices, and we love the fact that they are constantly upgrading their service. So in terms of scalability, you have a great provider and really decent provider. And one thing I want to say here is that when we talk about HostGator, what really I would say it distinguishes them is how fast they are able to help you scale your blog, your website. I mean, what kind of website you have, the your e-commerce platform, and so on and so forth. I want to quickly go through the pros and cons of this web hosting service, so you and I have a clear idea what we're talking about. So let's first talk about the pros. You have numerous feature-rich hosting plans. The hosting plans are really feature-rich. You have excellent shared hosting offerings, and HostGator is actually great for novice webmasters. You have useful site building software and e-commerce tools, helpful 24/7 customer service. You have outstanding uptime. This is really cool in terms of site speed and site security. You have a highly stable and reliable web hosting service. You have fast website loading time, even in moments of high traffic. So this is kind of cool. And you have affordable prices that actually starts at about $3 per month. And you have a free Gator website builder. So this is kind of cool in terms of functionality and scalability. What about the cons here? Not all plans have a Windows server option. Some annual plans cost more than paying month by month. You have free security tools are limited, and servers are only in the US as of now. So when you think about HostGator web hosting specs, you have Linux servers, of course, you have Windows servers, and then you have 24/7 customer support. So this is kind of cool across the board, of course. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about HostGator, and the question is, what is actually HostGator? Is their service really worth it? Welcome back to the show. Let me talk to you about pricing here. So when we talk about HostGator, I want you to look on the screen right now. So they actually have a trifecta of plans right now, as you can see on the screen: hatchling plan, baby plan, and a business plan. So 375, 450, and 625. Of course, these prices are kind of a little misleading though. So please read the fine prints like really well before you sign up, because this price is actually not only are including like a multi-month signing up. So in other words, you might have to have a 1 or 2 year sign up. That's number one. Number two, basically prices go up upon renewal. And number three, they might be charging you like some extras. So be very careful here. So when you think about HostGator, you have all kinds of hosting. You have shared hosting. You have WordPress hosting, you have VPS hosting, you have reseller hosting, you have dedicated hosting. So you have to see what really works for you. And so when we talk about the plans that they have, the Hatchling plan allows hosting of a single website. When you go for the baby plan, this allows hosting of unlimited websites. So the number here is totally fine. And the pro hosting, you have unlimited sites, free dedicated IP addresses, SEO tools, and a free upgrades to a positive SSL. So here you have a lot more functionality. Overall, even if you pick the most basic plan, there won't be any further expenses for the first year. For the first year, as you already get the domain name included, but the subsequent years, you might have some kind of bump up in the price. Okay, and even the most expensive plan on HostGator, what we have seen, that plan is relatively cheap. Also, you can grab a hosting plan with additional discount during HostGator. They constantly have promos going on all the time. Now, however, when it comes to a HostGator hosting plans, it's one of those things where you want to go for the baby plan if you have a limited sort of a project. Let's say you have a personal project on the side, or you have a side gig that doesn't require a lot of resources. It's just better to go with a baby plan, the hatchling plan. Okay, And so what's really worth noting is that HostGator has a standard 30-day money-back guarantee. The only catch is that the domain name fee will be deducted from the refund. Alternatively, if you already have a domain, you can easily make domain transfers for as low as 7 to 10 bucks. It's one of those things where you have to really ask yourself, do I have the proper experience? Do I have the proper resources to actually scale? Okay, and so one thing I also want to say here is that think about migration also. Migrations are really critical. I mean, to save an extra buck, you can migrate your website before the renewal time and enjoy some prolonged discounts with other providers. Plus, most of them do offer free migrations, HostGator included. So it's one of those things where you have to see what really works for you. Okay, this is so important. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about HostGator. So this is actually a HostGator web hosting review. Let me talk to you about the features here. So when we think about HostGator, what kind of features should you think about? First of all, hosting management. And so when we talk about hosting management, is the cPanel easy to use when it comes to HostGator? Well, it really depends because HostGator uses a now standard mix of a customized dashboard and cPanel. The dashboard allows you to use the most basic features, while the more advanced configurations can be found in cPanel. And this is kind of important to really think about. And so when you think about HostGator, I want you to think about scalability. I want you to think about operational efficiency, especially when it comes to hosting management. And so HostGator, based on our analysis, actually is great for WordPress. So HostGator pays a lot of attention to WordPress and the simplicity around it. So for that reason, installing WordPress with HostGator is very easy. You just need to follow the install WordPress link that's directly on your dashboard and fill in the needed information. And so you'll find the install WordPress button straight on your dashboard inside the control panel column. So this is kind of important to think about. And so you also have an SSL automatically activated with HostGator. This is kind of cool. So once you have HostGator, your SSL certificate should be ready and active. And but please check to make sure that things are working correctly. And so most of the time, the certificate will be activated automatically. That's what we have seen in our research. But you just want to check, and you can also set up a professional email with HostGator just to make sure that you add an extra layer of professionalism onto your brand. This is kind of cool. And one thing I also need to say here is that you also have a HostGator website builder. So you are able now. You're not going to have like a website builder as great as Wix or Magento or let's say Shopify or whatever, but you do have something more than decent. And basically, you have a drag and drop sort of process here, so you do not have to code. You do not have to have coding knowledge or whatever. You can you have a codeless website building process, and you just have to have a drag and drop, and you use templates. You can start from a free canvas for an empty canvas, or you can use ready-made templates and really customize things from there. So the possibilities are endless when it comes to website building through HostGator. What about performance? Let's talk about that. Is HostGator really fast? Well, yeah. HostGator has a 99.99% uptime, so this is kind of cool. And so the average response time when we actually tested the uptime here, we looked at 400 to 525 milliseconds. So this is kind of cool. So in terms of speed, you really have a pretty fast process here. And so HostGator operates its data centers in two locations. You have Utah and Texas, so that those are in the U.S. And this provider will perform best if your audience is located in the U.S. too. Also, keep in mind that you do not get to choose between the two. So everything looks pretty good when you think about HostGator in terms of speed, in terms of safety. And even when we did stress testing, things went out pretty good as well. Okay, so this is kind of cool. So it's one of those things where you have to really make sure that you are getting the proper scalability, the proper efficiency, and the proper functionalities. So all things considered, based on our analysis, HostGator's performance is impressive. The website won't have any issues regarding outages, And the fast loading side, the fast loading speed is something that's really good in terms of, especially when you have multiple websites. This is kind of cool. So we think that the HostGator web hosting is actually very well suited for small to medium sized websites that get occasional traffic increases. Now, we would not recommend HostGator if you are running a let's say a high traffic or at least potentially high traffic e-commerce websites, because the platform doesn't have the functionalities needed for it. Or if you have like a high traffic blog for your company or for your projects, okay. But if you have anything else, HostGator will be a great candidate to kind of help you out. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about HostGator. This is a HostGator web hosting review. So I've talked to you about speed. I've spoken to you about safety. Let's talk about security. Is HostGator secure? So we think that HostGator can do better on the security front of things, because they tend to be on the basic side. You do get the ultimate essentials such as a SSL and a server level firewall, but be ready to break your piggy bank for any additional features. This is where we think they could do better. And for starters, know that all plans include SSL certificates, which is always a plus. You also get a server level firewall that can protect your websites against unwanted or even malicious traffic. So this is kind of cool. But but if you want to actually up your security level, you're gonna have to pay for stuff. So positive SSL upgrades will actually cost you $40, and SatLock Essentials will cost you about 25 to 30 bucks. And automatic backups will cost you somewhere from 25 to 30 bucks every year, and it is what it is. So when it comes to security, we think that HostGator can do better. Right now, the company is quite greedy. You get the most basic features for free, but anything else will cost you extra. And individually, it's not much, but you know what it is: a little more here, a little here, a little there. All those things add up, right? Now, HostGator for business. So when it comes to HostGator, as I said earlier, HostGator actually appears to be fantastic for small and medium-sized enterprises. And when it comes to SME hosting, this is kind of cool. And the platform has also a bunch of scalability options for larger enterprises. And so we have like cloud, we have dedicated servers and reseller hosting, among others. And after all, shared hosting is often not enough when your website gains popularity or you need to start hosting your client's website as a developer or agency. Okay. So for instance, you have a cloud hosting. So when we talk about HostGator for business, you have cloud hosting, which is really good in terms of helping you with scalability. You also have dedicated hosting, another type of hosting that allows you to actually up your game a little bit. And you also have reseller hosting. So reseller hosting is again, as I said earlier, it's if you are trying to really start making money, quote unquote money, by reselling, if you by selling hosting plans to third parties. So if you want to, let's say, if you want to start your own hosting company, for instance, or let's say you are hosting your clients' websites as a developer or agency, then you want to think about a reseller hosting plan. And so all plans include the essentials. You have unlimited domain hosting, you have a cPanel, you have a web host manager, you have a web host manager client management services as well. So this is kind of cool in terms of scalability. So all things considered, HostGator has all kinds of hosting types for scaling your projects. It's only a matter of personal choice left in terms of what you're looking for, and also in terms of what kind of processes you're actually you're actually seeking, not only in the short run but also in the long run. Let's talk about customer service here. So when we talk about customer service, we love the fact that HostGator actually gives you a 24/7 phone support and live chat. This is kind of cool in terms of helping you, helping you scale, because as your website grows in popularity, you want to be able to tap into a customer service real fast. So this is kind of cool. And so and you also have free guides. You have video tutorials. You have other detailed articles, and this is kind of cool. And now, one thing you have to understand is that when you think about HostGator, you do not have a ticketing system that's available by default. So this is one of those things you have to be aware of. And but the wait times when we tested, when we contacted customer support, the wait times were minimal, and the agents were really helpful and knowledgeable. For us, this is really important. When you are considering a web hosting company, think about knowledgeability and think about helpfulness. You want the agents to know what they're talking about, and you want them to be courteous as well. So this is kind of cool. And so when we think about HostGator, we think about excellent customer service. You're not going to have somebody on the phone. That's rare, but you're going to have somebody via live chat, via email. Like if you talk to someone via live chat, expect to actually wait for about 5 minutes maximum before somebody actually gets on the line with you. And if they're not able to answer the questions satisfactorily, they will transfer you rather to email service, email support, and email support will get back to you within a day, depending on how complex your issue is. But long story short, their HostGator customer support is excellent. Again, for us, knowledgeability is important, and they are knowledgeable. So customer support is quick and friendly. You don't have to wait for long replies, and the issues that you might have will be fixed in a few minutes, depending upon how complex they are. Okay, and plus, if you love DIY customer support, the knowledge base is extensive and includes video tutorials. So that's excellent if you are a visual learner. Let me talk to you about the value added here. So the value added when we talk about HostGator, basically, when it comes to shared hosting with HostGator, you have a lot of functionalities, a lot of capabilities here. You are able to get things done real fast. I mean, shared hosting overall is not the best when it comes to hosting in general, whether it is with HostGator or another service provider. But with HostGator, things are a lot faster. You actually sign up real fast, and the your dashboard. Once you are in your dashboard, you are able to scale things a lot faster. And but again, shared hosting with HostGator is great if you have a side project, you have a personal project, you have like a minimal traffic website. This is kind of cool. But after a while, you might want to upgrade in terms of like VPS or dedicated hosting. Okay. Now, the VPS web hosting with HostGator is also really good. Now, HostGator actually offers three Linux-based VPS hosting tiers, and if you need more power, expect high traffic volumes, or has let's say you have specific compliance requirements that prevent you from using shared servers, but you do not want to pay dedicated server prices. These are great options to consider. So this is kind of cool. And what about dedicated web hosting with HostGator? Well, it's one of those things where you have to see what really works for you. Okay, now dedicated hosting is generally more expensive, but with HostGator you have some kind of like a decent pricing. You are looking at somewhere from 150 all the way to 400. Okay, and every single month. You also have cloud web hosting with HostGator. This is another possibility. So it's one of those things. They offer that as well. And so you are able to tap into the resources of multiple servers to see what really works for you. And you also have with the HostGator, you have a WordPress web hosting. So this is another possibility there. So you are able to do a lot of things real fast with HostGator in that sense. And you also are able to build a HostGator powered websites. Now, as I said a little earlier, the website builder is not one of the best out there, but you are able to have something. You can have a more than decent website, whether you want to have an e-commerce presence, you want to establish an e-commerce presence, or you want to have a regular website. Through HostGator, you are able to concoct, if you will, a pretty decent website. And you also have the ability to have a reseller web hosting with HostGator. We love that a lot, and this is kind of fantastic. So let me give you the last words here. So when you think about the HostGator, I want you to think first about customer service, but I want you to think about longevity as well. This is a player that has been in the industry for a little while now, so they really have some experience here. And so you have a player that's dedicated to hosting, so featuring numerous hosting types, excellent customer service, terrific, in our view, uptime, and a lengthy money back guarantee, HostGator actually appears to be an excellent web hosting provider. And with it, you get a suite of tools to launch a personal or business website, provided that a Windows powered server is not a top priority. If you're looking for something else than Linux, then you might want to look for someplace else. Okay, HostGator's shared hosting plans are particularly outstanding, and they are great in every category. And so, let me give you some of the pros and cons so you have a clear idea if you are out there and asking yourself, should I go with a HostGator or another player? If you're looking for a platform that has numerous feature-rich hosting plans, go with HostGator. You have excellent shared hosting offerings. You have a platform that's great for neophyte webmasters. If you are a rookie, then you might want to consider HostGator. And but there are a few things you need to really also pay attention to that might actually make HostGator not a great offer for you. Not all plans have a Windows Server option, and some annual plans cost more than paying month by month. So it's one of those things where you have to see what really works for you. So HostGator, for all intents and purposes, remains an excellent web hosting service that actually offers excellent customer service, top tier uptime, and an array of powerful tools, including terrific website building for bloggers and small businesses. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. Let's quickly do a recap here. So I gave you a HostGator web hosting review. So I gave you a summary, the pricing, the features, the value added, the last word, and now the recap. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.